Welcome to Murray Montgomery's Lone Star Diary. Murray is a published author and syndicated newspaper columnist. He writes nonfiction stories about the Old West, most of them about cowboys and pioneers to the Lone Star State. Other true stories with an Old West flavor from all parts of America will also be included from time to time. Murray has been writing for some 20 years for the online magazine, Texas Escapes. So sit back and relax, and enjoy these true stories of old Texas. Now, here's Murray.
Hey everybody, this is Murray back with you on our Lone Star Diary. This is the 21st episode, and this time I'm going to do something that I hardly ever do, and I'm going to talk about some history of my family. On my mother's side, our family come from the hills west and northwest of Austin, and they were cedar choppers. And back in those days, well, cedar choppers didn't have much social value as far as most people around Austin were concerned. But they were good people. I guarantee you they were good people, because my mother is an example of the type of people they are. Mom's gone now. She left us in 2017. But thank goodness over the years I was able to pick her brain for some information about her side of the family. Her folks were named Ringstaff. My grandmother and my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather were Ringstaffs, and they were cedar choppers, and they lived in the hills west and northwest of Austin. But you know, I guess most folks, as they get older, they have a desire to find out where they came from. That is, they want to know their roots. In our family, my mother is a resident genealogist, and it is from her extensive research that this branch of the Montgomery clan got its information about our ancestors. And on her side of the family, you might say Mama's roots were made of cedar. The fact is, she was raised up in the hill country around Austin, Texas, and was part of a family that made their living chopping down cedar trees. That's right, folks. They were what most folks call redneck cedar choppers. Back in the old days, the cedar choppers were not highly thought of. Some considered them to be lazy or just plain trashy. Not true. Though I'm sure some had a bad reputation, for the most part they were good, hard-working people. Some of the kindest people you'd ever want to meet, said Mama. And as for lazy, well, have you ever taken a double-bladed axe and spent a hot day in a cedar brake, chopping trees and dodging rattlesnakes? Lazy? I think not. Heck, most of us today would probably just keel over with cedar fever. Mama says that she never heard of cedar fever back then. I guess they didn't have nobody around to tell them that they were supposed to get it. My grandma's maiden name was Fanny Ringstaff, and her family was in the cedar chopping business, working in the hills west of Austin. These hard-working people made their living off the land, and it was a tough way to live. They went to work early and stayed late while trying to support their kids off of meager earnings. The Ringstaffs and their fellow choppers spent most of their time in the area known today as Westlake Hills. Those familiar with this scenic part of Austin probably have no idea that these beautiful hills once were the domain of a people who worked extremely hard from dawn till dusk and entertained themselves at the end of the week with a night of dancing to traditional fiddle and guitar music, drinking beer and moonshine while picnicking on the banks of Bull Creek. Heck, I can still remember swimming in Bull Creek when I was a kid back in the 1950s. The water was so clear and unpolluted, you could see fish with the naked eye. But over the years, Bull Creek has turned into a contaminated stream. The old cedar choppers would probably shed a tear if they saw that place today. Cutting wood for a living was all they knew, and they did it to survive. Many of them were virtually uneducated, and they got by on the strength of their physical labor and not much else. They scratched out a living from the land as their ancestors had always done, while striving to make ends meet. Most of the cedar was sold as posts for fence building, while part of it was turned into charcoal. Many of the families would travel into Austin and trade the charcoal for food supplies. The early cedar choppers didn't really maintain a home. Many lived out of a wagon, sleeping in tents and traveling from one cedar break to another as they looked for fresh trees. Living off the land, they hunted their meat, with most of the prey being deer, squirrel, and rabbit. These folks were proud and independent. They might have a fist fight over nothing on a Saturday night and be friends again when they attended church on Sunday morning. My ancestors, the Ringstaffs, chopped cedar until the years caught up with them. My great-grandparents, Richard and Margaret, followed in the footsteps of their family with the same strength and traditions. Richard, known as Grandpa Dick, was a fiddle player and would play at the dances on Saturday night. But Sundays were sacred to him. He'd put the fiddle down and refuse to play past midnight on Saturday. You know, folks, I'm proud of my wood chopping side of my family tree. These folks lived a hard life, and they did their best they could under the circumstances. They had their pride, and they didn't ask for handouts. Many of them sent their sons off to war. Some died serving their country, while others returned to the hills with distinguished military records. And friends, that's good enough for me. So there you have it, folks. That was a column that I wrote about my cedar chopping family. And I wrote this column a long time ago, and as I said before, Mom's gone from us now. So friends, I hope you've enjoyed this little rendition. Like I said before, I don't like to talk about my own family on these, but I felt like these cedar chopper folks were pretty worthy of it. And like I said before, I'm proud to have them as ancestors. But that's all for now, folks. I'm sure glad you stopped by to be with us, and I hope you'll be looking forward to the next one. But for now, we'll just be saying so long, and God bless Texas.